the biggest change we have to the Dark Zone?
Yeah, so we will be dropping items up to gear score 515 in the Dark Zone.
What's up, guys? Gongrongzong here. Okay, I'm just going to jump straight into this. The best loot in the game locked behind PvP? What the fuck were you thinking? This is so bloody unacceptable on so many levels, right? Firstly, you already stated very plainly that you guys didn't want to lock loot behind certain types of content, right? You said that you didn't want loot to be exclusive. Exotics aren't locked to raids. Set items aren't locked to raids. They aren't locked to PvP. They aren't locked to any one activity. Everything in this game is supposed to be, and currently can be, soloed to be obtained. Why in the world are you backtracking on this? Why are you locking exclusive loot, gear score 515, to PvP? And I'm sure at this point someone's gonna say, some avid toxic PvP player's gonna say, oh, but you can recalibrate your gear to 515. That's not the fucking point. The fucking point is that 515 loot, if it only drops from one place, from one type of activity, then it becomes exclusive loot. And you have stated this multiple times, that the direction of the game is not headed in such a way. Why are you backtracking on this? This is just the stupidest decision that you can make. Honestly, I would have thought better. And I'm sorry if this is very strong language, but I genuinely think it's a pretty stupid decision.
And then when we add new world tiers and how we have to scale that, if any of you have ever played World of Warcraft, you know that.
And you want to reference WoW as an example? Good. Let's use WoW as an example. I'm a very avid WoW player, and I've played WoW since the very beginning. In the history of WoW, never has there been a time period, never, when PvP gear was better than PvE. You know, sure, there was the occasional trinket that perhaps was best in slot or whatever, but you get my point. Overall, PvP gear was never better than PvE. Both audiences of PvE and PvP were happiest when there were equal levels of loot that dropped for both parties. The highest ranked PvPers, the gladiators, could obtain loot that was on par with the highest end PvEers, the mythic raiders. PvEers don't want to take part in PvP just to gear up. For obvious reasons, I thought this would be very basic to any game developer. Why are you forcing people into the DZ? And in the same way, PvPers also don't want to slay dragons just in order to be able to be on par with other players in PvP zones. Already, if you guys are not aware of it yet, already the DZ is dropping way more loot if you're max PvP level in the DZ. Why again this need to arbitrarily bump it up? On your stats that you developers have, right? All the statistics that you look through for how many players are logging in, how many hours they're spending playing the game, and so forth. On your stats, people aren't entering the DZ. And that's true. But it's not because loot sucks. It's because the majority of your player base is doing PvE and are finding the PvE activities extremely fun and satisfying, and thus have zero desire to do PvP, an activity that they rather avoid in the first place. Please just don't do this. Please don't. This is one of those make or break situations for your game. If you lock the highest level of gear behind PvP, just like you did in the Division 1, you are going to lose a massive number of players. This is a make or break decision that you're going to look back on and say, thank God we dodged that bullet, or fuck me, this decision caused the game to crash. From hero to zero. This is the kind of thing, at least for me personally, I can't speak for everyone else, but I can only assume. This is the kind of change that makes me just not want to log in anymore. Because what's the point? The entire point of this game is to grind gear, get more powerful, and take on increasing challenges. It is the developer's responsibility to make that grind fun and relevant. If you're going to make me do an activity that I inherently don't want to do, just to get the result that I want, I'm simply not going to do it. This is a make or break decision. Please don't do this. you already have one of the best games out in the market and potentially the best multiplayer game at launch this year, PvE wise. Please don't ruin this with some asinine decision of trying to force people into content that they inherently already don't want to do through better loot. And again, you want to know one of the very big reasons why WoW is on a steep downtrend right now? It's because of this very reason. Forcing players to do content that they don't want to do. Island expeditions, world quests, the Azerite grind, just to gear up. It's going to catastrophically fail. Loot should drop equally for all. 515 should drop in the DZ. It should drop in raids. It should drop at all difficulties. And then you scale it back percentage-wise according to the level of difficulty. For example, perhaps a 1% chance for 515 to drop at normal and a 10% chance to drop at heroic or something like that. In addition to this, man, with all due respect to the devs, it's really difficult for me to wrap my head around how stupid a decision this is. You are glossing over something super big that could entice people to enter the DZ, instead of baiting them with higher level loot. Cosmetics! That's right, cosmetics! Again, if you want to reference WoW, let's reference WoW. In the latest patch, guess what WoW implemented that drove a sizable number of PvEers to take part in PvP for the sake of the reward? A mount! That's right, a PvP mount, a cosmetic reward. In order to obtain this reward, you had to win 100 arena matches, or something like that. I can't really remember. In any other situation, this would be a monumental task that no PvEer would ever want to take part in. But guess what? People were asking left, right, and center for their PvP friends to help carry them in order to earn the reward. Let's look at another example. Counter-Strike. Guess what the rewards are? You got it. Weapon skins. And that's what everybody is farming in Counter-Strike for. Exclusive and nice looking weapon skins. Let's look at another example. Team Fortress 2. A game that's still in the top 10 games played till this day on Steam, which is just mind-blowing, frankly. But guess what the rewards are? Cosmetics again! And for TF2, you can't even friggin' see your character. And yet all of us that played TF2, God bless that game, it's just so amazing. We all grinded it out for those amazing cosmetics, just to see ourselves look absolutely ridiculous when we did the taunts. These systems are already working. In PvP games way, way bigger and way more established than the Division 2. Maybe you could learn from them? Take a leaf out of their hats? PvP players would love to be rewarded with exclusive cosmetics, because the whole point of PvP is to show off to one another who's the biggest dog in the yard. And cosmetics fulfill this purpose perfectly. You could have so many different types of cosmetics. You could have cosmetics for your weapon skins, which you already have. You could have even cooler cosmetic skins, a whole armor suit perhaps. Anything and everything goes. Perhaps you could even have cosmetics on your skills. You could have a different colored drone, a shield with a skin. That's so cool. And perhaps you could make that exclusive to the DZ. When the game first launched, guess what was the #1 trending topic that everyone was looking for? It wasn't where to find the best gun. It wasn't how to level up fast. It wasn't even about endgame builds. It was about where to get the Hunter Mask. Because the Hunter Mask was so cool, and everyone wanted them. Nobody really cared about how much damage they were doing. Everyone wanted to wear that sick mask, myself included. So, maybe take a hint? I don't understand. I'm sorry if I sound exasperated, but this sounds pretty basic to me. Have the same loot drop from everywhere, with an increasing chance to drop the higher up the difficulty scale you go. And if you want to encourage people one step further to do anything, whether it be heroic difficulty, the DZ, conflicts, raids, whatever, add in some super duper exclusive cosmetics. Again, I'm sorry if this video is sounding a bit negative and pessimistic, but I'm sorry, it's just, I don't know what else more to say. I'm sorry guys, it's just, yeah. I love this game so much. I think the devs are doing an amazing job, but I think at certain points of time, they really need someone to slap them over the face and ask them like, what the fuck are you even doing?